So we will talk about atoms and radioactivity today. Atomic structures. So basically, atomic structure, if simply summarized, it's the basic structure of atom. Atom has three particles consisting in it. It's proton, neutron, and electrons. Protons are positively charged, neutrons are neutral, and electrons are negatively charged. So when we talk about atomic number and mass number, the nucleus, which consists of proton and neutrons, plays an essential role. Also, electrons don't account for any roles because they are 1,800 times less than the mass of protons and neutrons. So we don't account them for that. So, okay, we'll move forward to isotopes. So basically, isotopes are basically elements, but if you can see, chlorine has a number 12 here and it has 14. This is because it has two additional neutrons in it. I would like to repeat that isotope have same atomic number but a different mass number. If you see here in the previous slide, we can see there's atomic number 4 and there are two neutrons. So basically, when you say for this carbon, yeah, when you see for carbon, it's like there are 6 new protons and here there are 6 protons. But what is happening is there are 2 additional neutrons in this. Hence, it's an isotope where there's additional of neutrons in it, as you can see. Okay. Radiation. So basically, radiation is a part when a nuclei decomposes, a unstable nuclei decomposes. It also happens through radioactive decay, as you may know about Chernobyl or any other power plant like Fukushima. So it's like when a high atomic number element decays, such as plutonium or uranium. We all know about Chernobyl and what happened there. So you can say that comes under radioactivity. And there are many other sites that have this, like uranium mines and pretty much radium also. So hence we tell them decays. So there are 3 types of things that come in decay. It's alpha, beta, and gamma. We'll learn about them ahead. So, okay. So what is new? There are 3 types, as I told you: alpha, beta, gamma. So if you see, gamma consists of 2 protons, 2 neutrons, have a charge of +2 because there are only protons in there. So it doesn't have a neutral charge. It's a helium atom, if you see. And yeah, it's like, what is the range and penetration? So, okay. So you may be asked, what is the penetration power? See, if you are asked, alpha has the least penetration power, but a very high ionization power. So if you're made to stand in a chamber of alpha particles, a very probable chance they will not penetrate you deep, but they will have a high chance of ionizing your skin, means causing skin cancers or cancer near your skin. So next is beta. As you can see, it's an electron. So it's a negatively charged and they travel for seconds, few centimeters in the air, are stopped by aluminium. So they are like medium and they don't have ionization power. So it's like you can still endure them. So next is gamma. It's an electromagnetic radiation. It's actually having no charge. It's infinite. So if you have anything which is dense, such as lead, also gamma will penetrate through, but the ionization power is really less. So you'll not have much damage, but it's like probability again, which is playing in. Penetrations of, as I told you, this are the diagrams. If you want to note them down, you can note them down. This is the alpha particle which is going there. Then there's beta, and then there's gamma. There, lead stopped it, but it's like a very thick piece. So you can take this as example because it will pass through a little bit, but because of this thickness, it doesn't. So yeah, ionizing effects. So if you all know, they can cause ions to form, and the radiation effects we all know about all these particles, and radiation harms everyone, so including their surroundings, as we know, like cancers and burns that can be caused by radiation. So yeah. So alpha decay, you can see that alpha decay is here. It's basically a uranium atom decomposing into an alpha particle and a thorium atom. So we can see that happening here. This also is happening around mines with high contents of uranium 235. Now beta particles, we can see that a carbon isotope, carbon 14 isotope is decaying into nitrogen and releasing one electron, which is extra for this nitrogen, hence giving a beta negative decay. Move ahead. So we can see this electric field that which is playing in. So we have this. So electric fields in motion, I will just draw one electric field here. Okay, so it goes from positive to negative. You'll learn in higher grades. So you can see how alpha and beta particles go. Alpha particle is attracted to negative because it's a positive ion. Gamma passes through because it has a net charge of 0, and beta bends towards positive. And you can see that it plays an important role, your mass and everything. Background radiation is basically normal radiation that you encounter like every day-to-day basis. So you can call it non-harmful also. But when you're doing calculations and in the lab, so they can account for a little bit errors. So we should be wise for that. Okay, basically background radiation is when you see we have a daily radiation dose from our suns, and which are infrared ultraviolet radiations that come. We also have some radiation from soils and buildings because of infrared and all those techniques that we use. Also, you can call them low intensity. We have radio waves which are transmitted. So these all are background radiations. So they're not considered harmful, but it's important when you're doing um, practicals or experiments that can that are basically on radiation. So you have to account for this because there are going to be background radiations in your reading. So measuring radiations, there are plenty. There's a cloud chamber and a Jaeger-Miller tube which you can use. So these are values that they can give, and basically they are units to measure radiation there. So because rate of decay and half-life. So if you see, well, I can explain this in a graph for positively. So when you see half-life, there's something known as decay. As you can see, we have a cobalt 60 element, which is isotope of cobalt. So you can see that it has 10 grams and then gradually it's decaying throughout the years. You can see number of half-lives here. You can see one half-life of it is 5.27 years. So it takes 5.27 years for 10 grams of cobalt 60 to decompose into 5 grams. So you can see it's a logarithmic graph which is pointing downwards. It's important as you can see it's a logarithmic progression that's happening here. Nuclear energy, it's a very vast topic. If you see, France derives 70% of its nuclear energy. So it's basically reactors which do fission processes right now. We are trying to work on fusion reactors, but they are not possible currently with the technology that we have. But nuclear energy mainly composes of fission. As you can see, it is basically the same principle that is used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but we take it under control by using graphite rods. Because when you bombard uranium-235 nucleus with a neutron, it splits and releases 3 additional neutrons. And these 3 additional neutrons go and collide with 3 additional uranium-235 atoms. So it's a chain reaction which is happening. So when we in a bomb, this reaction we can't control. It's like everything goes splitting apart by the neutrons that are splitting. But in a reactor, we control it by graphite rods and water to calm the reaction down and generate heat that generates steams and that rotates the turbine and powering our homes. So nuclear fission is the process that we use today. We use plutonium-229 also, as uranium-235 is rare in nature. We have to initially refine uranium to that level to make it 235. So okay, so fusion basically starts with combination of two nucleus fusing together. This is the process that powers our sun and other stars. So basically fusion is combining of two. It's not same as fission. Fission bombs, as I mentioned, you bombard a uranium-235 atoms with a neutron to split it. But fusion uses two nucleuses and fusing it together it can be hydrogen atoms fusing together to form helium, and so on and so forth. So basically, this is the process that powers the sun. And basically, thing to note down is fission is splitting, fusion is joining. So that's really important. And also, the amount of energy released in this process is far greater than fission atoms. We are done.